Hey, Energy Physio. I'm gonna show you my favorite way to smash your quads. Grab a kettlebell that's too heavy for you. I've got a 35. I could probably go 44, but I have no excuses. I went lighter than I should. Grab one that's heavy. It's got to really sink in. So a big problem with using foam roller, especially if we're talking about post-workout, is usually your full body is exhausted. So it's really hard to spend a decent amount of time on a roller because your chest is tired, your shoulders tired, your arms are tired, your core is tired. And so the easy thing to do is do some real quick steam rolls on the foam roller, and then you're done in 2 or 3 minutes. You haven't really spent a good amount of time on the quads, really just because you're tired. And so simply just allowing the kettlebell to sit on your quad and sink in does a lot. You can rest it on the flat side, you can tilt it back, and there's a nice little edge there on the bottom that feels really good. And if you're super hardcore and you need to get some really deep work done, flip that thing over and just let it sink in. All right, so you're gonna find a tender spot and let it sink in. Take a couple seconds to relax and let it get to its bottom point. And then you're gonna contract the quad, and you should see the quad swell up and pick the kettlebell up a little bit. You're gonna hold that for 5 seconds, and then you're gonna come off tension, and hoo-hoo-wee. It's nice. It's pretty brutal. My right eye's crying, that's why I'm not showing it to you. But you're gonna do contract, relax. Don't zoom in on it. Contract, relax in each spot. You need to spend at least 2 minutes here, but the more time you can spend, the better. I like to do this after workout and spend 10 minutes on each leg. After the ACL surgery on the right, the quad gets pretty stiff after a workout. The other thing I really like about the kettlebell is that the foam roller is really difficult to work this chunk of quad tissue right up by the hip. It's really thick, pretty beefy, and so the roller tends to disperse all that pressure out, and you never really get a good smash through the top of the quad. Here, we can start to sit that in and just let that sink in. You can even apply a little extra pressure if you want. And now we can contract, relax that upper portion of the quad and get a little more quality work done on the quads. And this is where handle down is really beneficial because it can kind of start to sink down in towards the hip bone and get into some of that tissue that's hard to get otherwise. Just some other little tips and tricks. You can rotate, kind of wind the skin up. That catches another layer of fascia that just resting the kettlebell down flat doesn't do. And so you can do that with either side. You can wind it up, and you can see as I wind the kettlebell, it's taking my skin with it. And then when you contract underneath that, it gets a release through the fascia underneath the skin on top of the quads. And last but not least, you can take the kettlebell over on its side and hold it and let that pressure get right into that vastus lateralis. That's the big quad that sits right on the side of the leg. You can do the same thing. Contract, hold for 5, come off tension, let it sink in. Make sure you can breathe normally. You're gonna see your quad bouncing all over the place. Slowly let that thing out. Yes, that is good. All right, and you can work that all the way from the high hip, right above the hip bone, all the way down to the knee, doing contract, relax. All that stuff is tender, and you can do right over the top of the kneecap. Not on the kneecap, just above it, getting into that suprapatellar pouch, doing some contract, relax to free that stuff up right by the knee. I recommend after this, follow up with a couch stretch, kind of reinforce that position a little bit and that looseness in the quads, and then you're done. Go about your day and enjoy yourself.